All right, folks, welcome back. It's another week. It's another episode here at Big Obel Media for our recap of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Episode 5, What Happens in the Catskills. Lucas and I doing what we do best, bringing you the best recap on all of YouTube of Power. That's at least how we feel. There's other good ones out there. Let me keep it real, but I feel like we do our job, and hopefully you like it. Hopefully you tune in each and every week. Hopefully you are subscribed. Hopefully you got the notification bell. I mean, y'all know when we go live, so you don't even have to hit the notification bell because once that episode airs, we are on right after it each and every week. We got a lot to talk about tonight's episode. Again, episode 205. But before we get into that, Lucas, how you doing today?
I'm going to say something that's going to ruffle a lot of people's feathers.
And
I understand that a lot of people may feel differently. But you know what? I think you're lying to yourselves if you do feel differently. And that is that s'mores are trash.
No,
Complete
100%.
trash.
I've had it 3 times in my entire life.
Horrible.
Definitely.
I don't know anybody who's like, oh man, I can't wait to have a s'more. Like, you don't say them Jones is ass. Them, like, s'mores ran out of being a good snack when you passed the age of 13.
Yeah.
When you passed the age of 13, you was like, nah, this don't even sound right. A graham cracker on a milk. Who the hell even likes melted marshmallows except for the whites with sweet potatoes?
Yeah.
But other than that, like, who the hell is like eating melted sweet marshmallows? This is disgusting.
It's
and
not
the
a hot
moment she
take.
said, "Hey, Kanan, come on, get this. You want a s'more?" I'm like, I would have been like, nah, what? No, why?
Listen, the s'mores was like a mystery of like, can I actually do that? And then once you did it, it completely sucked. Either it was burnt, for me, it was the texture, and overall, it was just the idea of like, first of all, successfully being able to do it was like, oh, I did it. But after that, everything else was a fail. Like, I didn't care about it. Like, oh, anybody want this?
It wasn't the taste you cared about. It was like, oh man, I got the perfect melted piece of chocolate with the marshmallow.
Exactly.
But you weren't gonna eat the shit. Like, nah, it's a waste of a graham cracker. And graham crackers are hood cookies, hood fancy cookies. Every mama hid graham crackers in her room from the rest of her kids because she was scared they would eat them all. And them Jones went stale. Those rules in the hood there. Those and oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah, no, those are my jam too, all the way, all the way. But anyway, folks, tonight before we get into our recap, folks, y'all know me. I bear gifts because I love you all, and hopefully you love us. We have a special interview again tonight. This one's long overdue, and I know Lucas and I were very excited to have had this guest. We've had our opportunity to talk to this person numerous times in person, and I wanted to give this individual his. Okay, now I say he. I was gonna say there, his flowers, because I'm going to tell you something straight up. There's no better person that I have met that I did not know pre-existing that just took so much pride into themselves, the fans, the character, and this entire universe than London Brown. I'm going to tell you a secret, and you all can go blast his social medias and let him know that you love and respect him for this. I'm going to tell you that when the Power premiere for season 2, the party was over. The night was dead. And my man made sure he stood to talk to each and every person who was there to see or meet him. And I mean, he literally could have had a limo or his transportation available for him. Might have even been there. But he made sure that everybody had a piece of him before he was able to roll. And I respect that so much. I brought it up to him, and he just same sentiments like I'm saying. He cares about his fans, and he's just a stand-up guy. So, you make sure you totally show him love. He has an amazing time playing Marvin. He did an amazing interview with the Crew Has It with the Braden and Tariq. Gianni and Macaroni podcast. And we finally got a chance to talk to him. So definitely check out that interview. Again, available later today on the channel. But as I know by now, I am a person that likes to give you a little tease. So let's check out a little bit of that interview right here.
I wouldn't be honest if I said that Martin has influenced me in ways, man, theatrically. So they let me just kind of mess around and I know that Marvin has to get the body out the wall and whatnot, but I'm ready to see that scene. So again, it's just me showing, even within the character of Marvin, I understand with this platform, I'm still showing people what London can do. Marvin is just the face of what London is. And so that's why, I always try to make sure that I keep these layers on Marvin.
All right, folks, as I said, come back later. Check out the entire interview with London Brown, aka Uncle Marvin. He is one of the best individuals I've met. He has so much fun playing Marvin. Marvin's one of our favorite characters, and we had a good time talking to him. So definitely check out that interview. But let's get into tonight's episode. We got a lot that happened in this episode. We got the moment I've been waiting for. I mean, not in this entirety, but we did get the Juke and Kenya sort of musical moment. But we did get
that is just not a song that people who don't go to church know.
Okay.
And that's not the song you would know. Like, you could have came up with "Eye on a Sparrow" or something else. But when they say, "Do you know Mary Made You Weep?" I'm like, wait, that's not a song that you would just know unless you grew up in the church.
Yeah. I by growing up in the church, like, it hit home. I heard my family sing it, and it did bring me a lot of emotion to watch that. But I thought that was really handled well, and
that's why I said unless you grew up in the church. I sung that in the church. I know. So yeah. And I'm like, that's just not a song you know.
Hey, junior church and the black church will have you singing these complex songs, okay? So just y'all know.
No beat, everybody off key.
But a lot of good things happened in this episode. I do want to start off this recap just a little bit different. And folks, jump in the comments right now. Let's get y'all involved right away. What was your favorite part of tonight's episode? I'm not going to answer. I'm just going to throw it to Lou. What do you feel was your favorite part of tonight's episode, or probably shall we say the most significant part of this episode?
Probably both, and that was Rock's confrontation at the end of the episode, because she said something highly important when she was explaining, like, if I kill you, it does me no good. It's gonna bring on more heat. If I leave you alive, it's gonna keep on coming after me.
Yeah,
we have to find the middle ground. And you kind of assume the middle ground would be the racist guy, because he was warned ahead of time, like, dude, we don't harm kids, which is a mob rule. You don't hit kids no matter what.
Yeah.
That's off limits. And the point he was about to do that, and he broke that code, it allowed the opportunity for Rock to lead.
Yeah. I
think later on you're going to realize just how important that is. Because a lot of things are going to be looked at. One, she just could have killed him and got over it. She could have killed the first dude, took his gun, and then killed the second dude.
Yeah.
Instead, she made the smart decision, which I think that's going to be played upon even more. And it plays back to what she told Marvin from the beginning, when Marvin was like, maybe we should just like halt
out. Yeah.
And all going in. And she's like, no, they're sharks. They smell blood in the water. They're going to come after you.
Yeah.
And we can't have that happen. And here, I just love that whole conversation, because it was a quick conversation, but it was one of the most truthful conversations that the show has had.
Yeah. So, and also I want to add, Sal has a lot of respect for her, regardless of what he sent his goons out to do. But if there's one thing, as you said, that we know about the mob, besides the rule of kids aren't touched, that most mobs are very family oriented. So not only is this a cardinal rule, but this is a cardinal sin if you do it. So you have to think that if you touch on one of their kids, you have a death note, period.
Yes.
So the fact that Rock spared him is also a form of grace that Sal's going to look and respect her even more, which does now invite a conversation of business in a way that did not initially do so. So it's crazy how, you know, we live in a world of actions and reactions and actions and cause and effects. But you have to think by sometimes not being so trigger happy, not just taking what it potentially may be the easy way out. She actually walked herself into a potential business deal instead of her brute force. Like, because we know her, she's like, I'm not bound for nobody. I'm gonna do what I got to do, you know. But now she actually may open up an opportunity by showing grace in a way that she wasn't expecting, which kind of puts them both in common grounds. Because I'm pretty sure Sal's going to say, hey, you know, you definitely had the license to kill here. Both of them at that point. Because they both knew what it was. But the fact that both of them were spared,
Yep.
I respect that. I respected you before, but I really respect you now. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And I agree. That was a significant moment. I like how you brought in that other moment with Marvin, because that was going to be a part of what I was going to say. But folks, definitely jump in the comments. Let us know your favorite part or the most significant part of this episode for you. Let's get you interacting early and hit the like button. That way we can make sure that everybody is seeing this video tonight. Let's start off with in the beginning. We got this crackhead hitting the crack spot. Hey, this wasn't a crackhead from the night that
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
I assumed that was the same crackhead.
That's exactly what I thought. Okay, so
man, I saw a young and do something. Like, you couldn't tell anything else.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So that's why I in my notes got the credible crackhead, because remember, he was the one credible, because he was the one that was supposed to be like the one to be a witness towards Howard being shot and saying that he saw the young boy or whatever, whatnot. But my man gets up in there, and Marvin, who had a fantastic episode. I cannot wait for you all to see a part of the interview that I mentioned something. I'm going to bring it up in a review, but there's a particular part of this episode that Marvin really shines, and London just is in this character just going crazy. And I love how he explained how he steps into this role. But yeah, you know, we got Marvin cleaning the crack house, and the crack house is closed. Come on, Lou. What's the logic here? Crack house closed? Never heard of that.
One. Let's talk about it. Crack houses don't close
Ever.
and crack houses aren't cleaned. Like those. Well, technically, they're not running a crack house. They're running a distribution center. So they're Amazon of the 90s with crack is what they're running here. So it's not necessarily the same, but you don't close the like Amazon ain't gonna come out tomorrow and say, you know what, we ain't moving no packages today. Like, let everybody know all packages are cut off today. like
you get your packages on Sunday. Happen. You know how it
exactly.
is, man.
So it was a slick move for them to do that. But again, it was addressing something we had in the last episode, and we were wondering about it. Like, I want to say something else, but it's going to make me sound either horrible or bring up way too many questions.
Okay.
I'm going to hit towards it, though.
Oh, fuck it. I want to hear this, because I don't even know.
If you've ever smelt a dead body before, right? When it decomposes, there's not enough Lysol, enough like pine air fresheners to take away that smell. That scene rang extremely real to me. When he's like, oh man, like the point it decomposed to the point where it's not even slimy anymore. Yeah. Oh, that means all the flesh. Oh, that shit had to smell horrible.
Yeah.
And again, if you've been around a fresh dead body, them joints don't smell well. You give it a couple of hours, that joint does not smell good. So if you think about it, and it's been in there for however long he's had it in that tight, sealed room with no air in it, man, that thing had to be horrible. And again, I don't want no questions about, wait a minute, because why would you be in a position to smell a dead body? Hey, none of those questions are necessary. It's just not just said a simple thing here.
Listen, I gotta throw it out, because you're getting to the point I was bringing up. I asked London in terms of how this scene was constructed. I said I felt like you were channeling old school Martin by how you were improvising all of the silliness around this character. I said, to me, it felt like when Martin had the dog or the Halloween one.
Oh, the little Joe when he was fighting the stuffed dog.
It was completely hilarious.
Oh, man.
I love this scene. I watched it back a few times. It was so hilarious, but you're totally
man,
right.
When he got up after the jump fell on him, and he just like, oh. Oh, like he's like that's helping at all.
and you know the script had like clues probably saying it smells really bad, really, really bad. Imagine
Go
it
for
smelling really bad.
Yep.
Go for it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, you know, Marvin, he gives the crackhead something to get him out the way. He's getting the body out the wall. It's time for the body to be moved. And you know, I think, you know, without us, I think it's very clear that we had a clue of sort of what was next for the body and as far as the how it's gonna be transported and everything. But like, yeah, the body had to be moved because it was smelling. And it wasn't like because anybody was complaining, it's just because they just couldn't bear it. It was long enough. And
I'm about to say it's a crack house. Who's gonna complain about that? Let's I don't think a crackhead has ever said, I don't want to buy crack from here. Do you smell that? Like, no, that's not what happens. But again, you said it. They kept on smelling it, and they knew they're like, oh shit, this body gotta go.
Oh man. Anyway, Rock is ready to create some mother-son time, so they decide to go camping. And while all this is happening, the Italians are scouting out the area. Very racist, by the way. I'm going to ask you a question in a second, but you know, they do start to give some bit of dialogue about the blacks moving into the area and all this sort of commentary about blacks, and it's extremely racist. I got to ask you. I'm not here to challenge this, but was this always a norm?
Italians been racist?
But in this era, in this area, were they extremely racist like this in New York? I don't know.
It's an episode of The Sopranos.
Okay,
when Tony Soprano's
I know it's your favorite
daughter,
series, by the way.
Right.
Isn't it behind you somewhere?
Probably on the other side. When Tony Soprano's daughter dates a half white guy.
I know that. Yeah,
half black, half white guy.
Yeah.
And Tony was going off.
Yeah.
Like everything. Yes. Italians, again, it's two-sided. Either they don't care at all, which is, I love the contradiction between the two. You hear the other guy say, man, I had a family move in next to me. They got two sons my daughter's age. I don't bother them. They don't bother me. And he said, well, what happened if one of them little licorice boys, which, damn it, that was funny. Like licorice boys, that shit was hilarious. But we said, what would you do if you had one of the licorice boys try to date your daughter? And he said, I wouldn't know. So that it shows the difference in between. So just like any group of people, not everybody was racist, but for the most part, I mean, blacks and Italians don't get along in most time periods, which is odd because Italians have just enough of a color variation from us that you would think we would be fine.
Yeah,
but nope.
And I understand Italians all over the world, by the way, how they feel about other ethnicities and even other nationalities as well too. I mean, yes. I recently watched something, and there was an Italian guy, Sicilian guy at that, dating a American, and their family said, we'll disown you if you do that because we know Americans are very prone to divorce, and we're not having that in our family. And I'm like, oh, excuse me. So they disowned him because he decided to make his own thing. So I know, like, in a very, should I say in a very lighted way, this gives off like German, a sense of like either you're in or we don't want you type of thing.
You're a black woman or they don't like you. Italians love black women. Let's get that up front. They love black women.
Yeah,
it's one of the few cases where black women have it over black men. It doesn't happen often now.
Yeah,
but
because Sal was kind of googly eyed over her a little bit, like, hey, I kind of like
black
her.
Women.
Kind of like this broad, you know.
Black men, and you the competition to them. They're like, no, let's get rid of this movie. True. Now.
Yeah, good assessment. I definitely concur there. Yeah, so I was definitely like, I don't know if I've ever realized that this tone was very like out front in the way it was, where they were just like
in that time in the 90s, the 80s, and the 90s. Yes.
Yeah.
Not now, because again, now I think I'm not gonna say as a country we've evolved, but I think certain classes of people have, where you kind of understand, like, we kind of fighting each other here. What's the point?
Yeah. True. Okay. Sounds good. Well, let's move on to the next thing. Kanan and Juke. Kanan tells Juke that, hey, I took your advice, which I gotta say, we didn't pick up on this. We didn't know that conversation that last episode was Kanan saying, maybe I should try that, where he says, I'm gonna go look in Howard's eye. And I did the thing you did with your mom, and I it felt eerily weird. Like I saw myself. And Juke was like, okay, well, that's cool and all, but no, that motherfucker's a cop. You can't trust him. I gotta say, that gave me chills. That gave me chills. You know why? Because we all know that Juke is going to become a cop. That is the curveball I did not see coming in that dialogue.
For her to say all cops lie?
Yeah.
Hey, she wasn't lying. Because clearly we saw what happened with Juke.
But listen, I say this too. There's a lot of motherfuckers I know that was fuck the police, and guess what they're doing right now is their occupation.
The police. The police. Hey, even you hated the police growing up, or you was a kid who got picked on all the time and you became a cop. Like it's one or the other, Joe.
Oh my goodness. I was just like, what?
That's why it rang so true when she said it. Like, nah, fuck that. He's a cop. Cops can't be trusted. It's like, yep, sounds about right.
It was
we got two groups of people that can't be trusted in this episode. two poignant speeches for Black women.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's something. But Kanan, you know, he makes it very clear to Juke, like, hey, it's not cool between me and my mom. I think this is important because I think Juke thinks that everything is culture, but it's not. Rock is basically doing what every black mother would say. Boy, get yourself together. And you think you telling her I will? You think she's gonna leave from the front of that door? Hell nah. You better get to going, boy. You gotta get to church in the morning. I ain't playing with this. But but you know, Rock is very optimistic in trying to create this bonding. I want to ask you, what do you think about Rock's tactic into trying to rekindle that trust with him instead of being upfront by saying, hey, I know what you were doing with Howard, or even questioning him about it? How do you feel about the tactic of her trying to, you know, smooth things over by giving him s'mores?
I think it was not one to put all her cards on the table with Kanan. Mm-hmm. Like I think it's too much if she lets him know, like, one, I've been following you and I know where you're going to. That's maybe too much information. Here, it feels like she's trying to feel him out to get him to talk. She's trying to get him to tell her what he's doing. Okay. And I mean, it's an interesting tactic to take, but it's one that makes sense with someone as calculated as Rock is. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to play my whole hand out here. I'm not going to throw it all out to let you know what I know. But I'm going to take you somewhere. Granted, I'm going to take you on a business trip, and I'm going to take you somewhere and isolate us, where I'm hoping you're open up to me because you'll let me know why you're mad. Because for anybody who's ever wondered, Black mothers always know when you're mad at them.
I want to say all mothers, but yeah, certainly Black mothers.
I can't speak. I've never had a white mother before.
For sure,
I've never had, so I wouldn't know.
But I know for my mixed mothers out there, and some of the other ethnicities in my family, mothers know. But let me just add: Black mothers know when their baby's temperatures are fluctuating. They know when you're sick. And they certainly know when you lie, and when you lie, you get to sweating, and you're sweating because you're hot, and they know something's up. And then we saw nervous Kanan a couple of times, so like I concur. Yep, gotta love our mother.
And that's why, and I think that's why she knows there's something up, and she wants him to open up about it, but she doesn't want to lay the cards on the table and say, "Hey, I know this information." She wants him to open up about it. Again, it's. I love the dynamic between them two in this entire episode. As you said from the beginning, when she like, all right, Kanan, let's go. Yeah. All right, Ma. Nah, I mean, like, let's go now. All right, Ma, I'm coming. No, you got to get to moving. Like, like she said 5 times you need to get moving and never move from the spot. When he was trying to say, Ma, I'm coming. Like, nah, she ain't want to hear none of that. Again, it's the same thing with the young lady at the cabin And like, what did I tell you? Don't trust white girls. Granted, it's something that in the 90s, black mothers used to say all the time. They don't really say that anymore because it's don't trust all women. They don't single out races that much anymore.
Let's go one episode before that. We brought up the Central Part 5.
Yep. So we're in a time period where that would be a conversation to have happened.
Yeah.
But again, it's always this whole episode was just her attempting to get him to tell her what's going on, while her making the common motherly mistakes where it will just shut a kid down and they're not going to talk to you anyway.
Yeah.
Kanan reacted just like a teenager would. Like, nope. I'm gonna take these s'mores and I'm gonna eat these s'mores. You gave me this smoked glizzy. I'm gonna take this smoked glizzy.
Hey, bro, they definitely charged 2 glizzies to the game in this episode. Hey,
man,
listen, Makai was probably like, Makai was probably like, yo,
real? I said, dang.
Hey, Makai was probably like, hey, yo, y'all think we can just like shoot this in low light or something? Like, hey, that shit gonna be funny. Old Black Twitter is gonna go crazy once it's aired tonight on Stars. I think it was at 9 p.m. It's been a while since I watched it. And
don't worry about the first world problems, because you just literally said the joke comes on at 9 p.m.
I think it's 8 or 9 p.m. on Stars. You know, I watch it on the app. I mean, we watch it early, but I also am up after y'all watch it on the app, on the Stars app. But when it comes on Stars, the television channel, I think it's 8 or 9 o'clock.
Okay.
But
we have first world problems. I don't know.
Yeah, our apologies. Anywho, Juke listening to her tape and it's not her. Whoops. Well, we saw that coming. Anywho, we go to the radio station where we got Crown pitching to get Ziza's song on the radio. I love how Lulu steps in, like, oh, she looks good too. Dude is this, you know, he's trying to play the game, but you know, radio is true, especially New York radio, which has been something iconic for years in terms of if you get played on these radios, these airways in New York, that's it. That's about as big of an endorsement that you get. And you know, the radio host, he said it what it is. Spins are worth something. So him and Crown in cahoots go into the hallway, completely plays Lulu. Lulu, the money guy. He doesn't even get the meet, and they're just in the hallway mocking him. But Lulu's hip. I don't think those walls were completely soundproof. But either way,
it ain't even soundproof. Lulu could read lips.
Yeah,
the way
exactly.
He was staring at them. It's like, I hear everything you're saying.
So there's that. Anyway, we got a new car that's appeared here, and it's funny.
You gonna skip my favorite part of the episode?
What I missed?
This episode.
What I missed?
Between Lulu and I'm about to call him Camacho.
Crown Camacho.
Crown
Camacho. You ain't wrong.
Heck, Camacho.
Ain't no boxing going on in this. Facts.
But just the same when they're leaving the record studio and he smacks the heck out of him.
Did that happen right here? Oh! It happens right after the scene. But but yeah, we could talk about it. Yeah. When they're in the parking lot,
and the key part about that to me was the respect that Lulu doesn't have for Crown.
Oh, sorry.
If you questioned it before, it clear the point that Crown pulls a gun out and he said, "What makes you think I'm not going to use it?" And he said, "Me, nigga," and turned his back to him.
Yeah,
you don't understand the disrespect it takes.
Yeah,
to see someone with a gun in their hand, looking like they want to point it at you, and you turn your back to them. Yeah. Like that's the ultimate way of calling you a bitch. It's almost worse than slapping you, which Lulu also does in his scene.
Who is accredited for if you pull that? If you pull that, if you pull that out on me, you better shoot me. Is it Bone Thugs or is it Tupac?
I don't think it's either one of them. That goes way back. That may go back to Ice-T.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, folks. Who is accredited for that line?
That goes way back before. That's
like a street law.
Yeah. Oh man, that's number one. Rule number one of the key rules is you. There's literally no reason to pull it. You pull it if you ain't gonna use it.
Yeah. But yeah, that did happen. I mean, the scene I was about to go into, these two things happen outside of it. But yeah, Malcolm bossed up in this scene as Lou, and yeah, he turned his back on him, and yeah, I just, it's the lack of respect that he has for Crown. And for whatever reason, Crown playing this whole weasel game, thinking he's just gonna be able to do what he want to do and not get receipts for it. And here's the first one for it. Got G-check really quick. We'll see if he try that BS again the next time. So probably not. But yeah, we see Marvin pull up in a new car because it's a car that Rock and them are taking for the trip. And it's obviously because they want to be low key. One, Rock doesn't want the range out in the mountain, but also, I mean, I guess
we know why. It wasn't no damn range out
for
of the mountains.
For sure.
Literally makes no sense to drive a Buick into the mountains when you have a truck.
Yeah. Luggage have already been preloaded. That's why Kanan. I mean, and listen, I'm sorry. This is the foolishness I can remember growing up. I do remember just people telling you stuff that just don't make sense. Kanan is much like me. I think the luggage go in the trunk. Boy did not say put that in the back seat. Okay, but and it's kind of crazy because I don't put shit in my trunk now. I put everything in my back, groceries, everything.
That's why you grew up. That was off limits.
Yeah,
ain't no telling what the fuck was in the trunk. Put the shit in the back seat, and then you didn't like the way Kanan questioned his uncle and more colorful language wasn't used was amazing to me. Because Marvin was really calm, which means the exercises he's doing is really working. Because he's like, just put it in the back seat. Just listen. I would have been told, shut the fuck up and put it in the back seat like I said.
Yeah. But this is what Marvin says, like, listen, with everything going on, you're really gonna go into the mountains, like, you know, the Italians and all that other stuff. And he said, listen, we can just shut this down for good. It's not like we have shop set up yet. And Rock obviously is like, nah, you know, but beyond that, it's because we all know what's in the trunk, and and this cargo needs to be moved. So it's Marvin doing his half, Rock doing the other, and I guess Lysol, for whatever reason, saved the day for them getting this up the thing. But
different Lysol in the 90s than it is now.
Yeah, it must be like that Teflon nice.
This that
the
shit
one
that
that kill you
had to ban.
Yeah,
yeah, y'all can't use this one no more.
Yeah, you spray this, it just kills you. Like fucking.
Again, we were built different in the 90s. You know, we used to stand around houses where they bombed it with roach bombs or whatever the shit was.
Listen, this some Nazi fucking tear gas or some bullshit, like some experimental shit that just did not work. Like this shit is crazy. Like he said Lysol, and they're just gonna go up the mountain like it's just okay. Like what the fuck?
He says Lysols and pine trees back there.
Crazy.
Just, the pine trees you put in your car now, them don't last a day.
Yeah, you right. Them jokes before last like 3 years, bro.
Yep.
Hey, we're fooling around too much. They're gonna be like, y'all not serious this episode. I'm not watching that one. Let's get back to it, folks.
This is a great episode to really punctuate everything that happens. But everything is, if you remember the 90s, a lot of this stuff is comical, but it's also a very serious tilt about what's going on, especially when we get to Marvin. We haven't got to the crux of the real serious parts of the episode yet, which is Marvin's storyline, because that is his conversation with his pseudo psychotherapist was amazing.
Yeah, but
everything else, it is fun to watch Rock take her son to the Catskills mountains in a Buick LeSabre.
I was just quickly Googling because I was like, wait, I know I brought up Bone Thugs and Tupac, but that's because on the song Thug Love, where Tupac verse comes in, he says, pull that strap on me, you better kill me, thug like, baby. So that's where I got that from.
Wow. Yeah, that is your reference for that? Is that? So not like Tupac and Juice, because I immediately thought about Tupac, the Holla If You Hear Me, all the way back to Tupac. I wasn't even thinking about oh man.
Yeah.
Wow. Age gap.
There you go. Hey, that was like the man. Listen, that when I first heard that, I thought I was a gangster straight up. Listen, it's probably
That's
the best.
the song that made you think, because everybody got the song that makes you think you're a gangster. That's the one that did it for you?
That might have been it.
Oh, man.
That might have been that. Or What's Beef? One of them.
Wow.
One of them.
Wow. Mine was
Yeah.
like Scarface, Jesse James, or Big Mike swinging things. Like mine goes or some from Spice One. Like,
True. Anyway, let's talk about the
Taylor's
car
got no
ride.
heart. That's a joke.
Car ride, Rock wanting to know what's up with Davina. She's in South Carolina with some family. I guess we wanted to know too. A lot of people thought that Davina was the mother to
Ghost.
who
Tasha.
they said? Tasha.
They
Tasha.
saying everybody.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Davina was everybody's mother.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, she's in South Carolina. She brings up about, well, you're talking to somebody else, and he brings up the chick that he was talking to at a famous party, Shorty in the building, and Rock says, keep it fun. There's definitely something that's going to happen between the two of them. So we'll talk about that.
Is that Sean's mother?
Lord, geez. I mean, is this going to be, is it Sean's mother? You're right. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah.
The age would match.
Yeah, listen.
He was in his early 20s.
Do you realize that somebody said that that's how Sean got his name? Because he named him after Famous. I was like, whoa, there's this one I haven't heard before. Is that it? Do you name your son after your best friend that you met at your best friend's party? That could be something there. We'll see what happens.
If your best friend is dead.
Oh well, nah. Well, see, here's the thing. Then everybody's saying that that Famous is Breeze. So,
oh damn it.
so I listen. It's power, man. You got
you got to connect the dots. If it ain't no fun, if they ain't connecting dots. Man.
Everything, folks. I mean, go crazy. I'm not mad at all. Go crazy, folks. Anyway, Marvin's on lunch with his therapist, and Renee just wants him to open up more about everything. Stop calling therapy bullshit. And he starts to open up about his relationship with Juke, and how he feels like he's a fucked up father and a dumb motherfucker. But he doesn't think he's bad. He just think like he made mistakes, and obviously this is just him wanting to repair. And I think that Renee, now knowing that she can start zeroing in into what his triggers are and helping him out. So we'll see if she's able to make connections for him. I think this is interesting. This seems like a very like insignificant scene, but think about it. If therapy starts to work, that the pendulum between who Juke is comfortable with can change, and that can bring things together in a beautiful way. That can be destructive for many. It could be a lot, because right now everybody's cherishing Juke's time. If it's not Rock, if it's not Kenya, and if it's not Marvin missing that, everybody wants Juke's time. And we'll see, one, can she balance it all? Possibly. Does she want to balance it all? Maybe not. So it's interesting to see how Renee, now knowing the source of his triggers, how she can aid him in doing what she does best as a licensed therapist. Or, as she said, or if you don't cooperate, I'm just going to go tell the judge, and
you go into
know
jail.
How this goes. Anyway, Kanan and Rock, they check into the cabin. Kanan meets Hannah, asking about bears, because that's exactly what I fucking would have did too. Get there, and I want to know about the bears, and Hannah basically is smoothing that over and whatnot. Rock, on the other half, is just, I don't know, she checks in peeping game, and she buys a knife. I was like, holy fuck, like that was drastic. But I don't think the knife was in response to Hannah. I think the knife was in response to her just knowing that she needs something at all times, because that's how she rolls. And she is very much right. So, and we knew the knife was going to come into play at some time. Anyway, the Italians, as we see in the background, they show up too, because obviously everybody wants to go camping. Everybody wants s'mores. The two Italians probably wanted the glizzies too. You never know.
Hey, if you would have gave them the glizzy, they may have been fine.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it may have been nice, peaceful 5, bunch of glizzies, everybody happy.
Yeah, like, Camp Glizzy Glock. You never would have been down. Hey, so Juke rolls up on.
God damn it, you a fool, man. I was about to say shit. Terrell gonna sign up for that camp tomorrow. He gonna be like, look,
Hey,
Oh man, I keep on making fun of my guy.
Terrell's one of our other members of Big O Belt Media. It's a joke from one of our vacations, folks.
Hey, he had GlizzyCon when we was in San Diego, Jill. Going crazy there.
Juke rolls up on Ziza, say, "Hey, you stole my song," and Juke wrote it. She said it was given to me by your Uncle Lou, by the way. And Juke had nothing more to say. I don't got beef with you at this point. And that was just that. But that's when we realized that, everything that all of us was pretty much predicting last episode. Yeah, here we are. The storm was stolen. It was a knowledge. We know who did it. It wasn't Crown. It was Lou. Marvin out here scouting while eating some snacks. He is in Scarsdale, New York, as Scarsdale, New York finest rolls up on him, asking him what is he doing because he doesn't belong there. Obviously, this is something very prejudiced, followed by racism, of course, because Guy, you're black, you can't afford to be out here and so on. He's trying to say it in a casual way, but we know what it is.
Are black people still not allowed in Scarsdale? I don't hear too many black people that go there.
Not at all. We don't want that, or the Hamptons. And that's just what
we want the Hamptons. Diddy owns Hamptons now.
This Black Hamptons,
yeah. He owns the Hamptons
now. But this is him scouting out to see, who is it, folks? It is his old chick, Tony. I thought he was done with her, but clearly not, as he seems to have a lot of interest in her still. What do you think about Marvin and him?
When there's something said in, not last episode, but the episode prior, about her telling the police things about Marvin?
I could be wrong here, but I don't think they said anything. I know that the judge, his lawyer had said that, she done moved on, did her own thing, and that was that. They made it.
Someone said they would get information.
I feel like they said, to me, I had the impression that they wrote her off. And here she is. And that's where the intrigue for me is like, well, what's this all about?
What's the end game? Yeah.
Right. And I again, check out the interview. So I'm not going to tell you what was said when I asked about this, but he does elaborate what significance Tony has to Marvin. But Tony's here. Marvin has an eye out for her and keeping her in close proximity. So we'll leave this one alone. You hit the interview up, you get the answers for that. Anyway, the Italians, while they're on this camping trip, they're trying to figure out a way to get Rock alone. And this is interesting because we talked about this, so it's not reason to emphasize this a lot. They want to isolate Rock because they want to hurt Rock. And then don't want to do anything to Kanan. It was supposed to just be a sense of just isolating him, monitoring that, and doing what they got to do for Rock. This whole thing with Kanan and Rock, I guess Jimmy took it personal, and he went above and beyond than what he was supposed to do in the original orders here. So this is where we just start to see the transformation in terms of how things kind of developed and how they sort of concluded in terms of we had a certain set of plans and it ended up into this. This is extremely problematic for Sal because, as we mentioned, you don't touch the kids, but it's not even just that at this point. It's this point now you can't take orders, and you may have got shot, and you may be okay, but I can't imagine him. Yeah, can't imagine him lasting another episode.
That little bullet to the knee means nothing. But this is also why Italians have so many vendettas in the mob. Because of this rule that you don't kill kids. Yeah. How do you kill the mother or the father of the kid and leave the kid alive and not think eventually this kid? We've all seen A Bronx Tale, hopefully. That's literally how Sonny died. Is the kid of the guy who he killed came back and shot him in the back of the head. Like, again, mobsters, hopefully y'all still not going by this rule. God, I don't mean it as bad as I'm making it sound, but let's just say if you're willing to kill someone, kill everyone. Like, don't leave no chance that you could. I don't want to be looking behind my back. And that is in the movie when he said, I don't want to have to look behind my back for the rest of my life. I'm gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
Like, there's no need for me to have to worry about when you grow up, you're gonna search for me.
Yeah.
Or as 50 said in one of the best lines in rap history, I'm gonna get tired of looking for you, spray your mama crib, and have your ass look for me. Like,
Yeah. I could imagine that Sal makes an example of Jimmy in front of Rock. That's my prediction for next week, just like that. Anyway, Juke doing the Lord's work out here now confronts Lou and says, so what's this with my song? Like, you just gonna play me like that? I do think that Lou being honest it's completely the right way to handle this, because we know that Juke know how to hold vendettas. And you know, I don't think that he actually explained this in the way he should, but he definitely was very upfront about, you know, owning up to it and apologizing and let her know a little bit about the business. Like, hey, sometimes you can get a credit for being a writer on
he
things.
Gave her the most important. Listen here, singers don't make money off of songs. The people who own the publishing of the songs make money. That's what he said. Ain't nothing wrong with a writer's credit. Ain't nothing wrong. A publishing check is real. He's 1,000% so. Because if you write a hit song in the 90s and you getting publishing off of that song, you're making millions. You're pebbles. You sing the song, you're TLC. It's a difference. It's a difference.
Jesus. So, you know, put her on the game, but you know, she don't understand now, but she'll learn. She'll definitely learn.
It makes sense.
Emotional for sure. So Detective Burke brings in Andrea, aka Howard's escort. She wants info on Howard. Threatens her. Say, I will put your little motherfucking black boy in foster care. She did say, "Nah, I will let foster care know about what you do for occupation." And obviously, you know, because you want to threaten her, because this is the way to apply pressure to get the answers that you want. To me, I like Shanley a lot, and I'm really trying to get into Burke's character, and it is still toting that line of the obsessed cop that we've seen in so many different iterations throughout the Power universe. And here we go again, where everybody told her to back away, and here she is, pedal to the metal, blowing past the speed limit. And don't care. No seatbelt on or anything. It's raining outside. She don't give a fuck with ball tires. She is just out here saying, fuck it, but I'm going to get there one way or another. And here we are. But what? You're about to say something.
But it's a little different than all the rest of the cops. All the rest of them were obsessed with catching somebody. She's literally obsessed with finding out who shot her partner.
Or
tried his best to hide it.
Or she just obsessed with exposing Howard, because you understand her finding out the truth completely. The truth about who shot your officer isn't a tactic that I'm getting here. I think it exposes him for being a liar, and then that's.
But I don't think you can. It's harder to prove that he's lying, because how would he know who shot him? All you can think is, okay, then let me find out who this kid is, and this kid did this and that. Now I think she unlike the rest, maybe Blanca.
You just hate her.
Yeah, I absolutely hate her. But she was actually doing detective work a lot. She wasn't a Sachs or Greg Knox that was just like fucking with people to fuck with people. She did detective work, and Burke here is doing work. And one, I don't know how Howard is fucking up, and everybody knows who your prostitute is. Like, how does everybody know who your prostitute is?
Facts.
Like, you fucking up. One, you fucking up because you having in-depth conversations with a prostitute.
Hey,
like, who the fuck does that?
Can we talk about how he tried to carry her and he was completely out of line? He was saying like he only paid her for. I wish I had wrote this down exactly how he said it, but he basically said, "I'm only paying you for a good time. I'm not paying you for deep conversations." I was like, wait a minute.
And this
I don't
nigga the
think
one
that's
having
true.
all the deep conversations.
I don't think that's true at all.
He said, "Ain't some fucking confidentiality in your line of work." No, there is no stripper client confidentiality or whole client confidentiality. Those don't exist.
My man asking for proper representation for his client here. This is,
Especially when you let everybody know who your hoe is. Again, why would Burke just go to her and be like, "You sleep with Howard? What's going on?"
oh my goodness.
Here's the fucked up part, though. And again, it's the way the system is rigged against people. You literally went to a prostitute and said, "He's paying you. If you don't tell me what's going on, I'm gonna put you in jail. I'm gonna take your kid away."
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know he's paying for a prostitute, which means it's against the law. So
your own partner's guilty.
Howard, there you go. Like, she could have easily said no, because if you do it, then your partner's going down with me because he pays me. Like,
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
that's a brilliant point. Yeah, and again, this is why maybe you're right. Maybe she is so obsessed with trying to figure out who the shooter is that she's willing to jeopardize anything else around that, including her own partner. So could be it. But you gotta trust your partner, as her dad said, as her ex-girlfriend said, and here we go. So, and like, listen, if he's not that persistent in knowing, why are you going above and beyond? That is problematic too. So,
because I don't care who shot you if you don't care.
Yeah, but she did say she want info on the shooting. That's what she said her motive is, and even though I think it could be much more broader, but whatever. But now Burke knows that he has a son, and we'll see how that plays out. I mean, we know who his son is, and he's going to do anything to protect his son.
Walking around in this neighborhood. There only could be one.
Yeah,
famous.
Just Juke. What about she think it is Juke?
But nah, she said son.
Oh. You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And Juke had
listen.
Straight press and curl in this episode.
Complete transparency. You're right. Definitely said Juke. Definitely said son. And when I said that, they showed Juke the next scene, and I thought they were trying to foreshadow, like, oh, maybe she thinks it's Juke. That's where I got that thought from. But yeah, no, definitely not Juke. It's definitely the only black son kid.
Exactly. Only black kid in the
only one person famous. Anyway, as we mentioned, they're around the campfire, glizzy glocking up at about 95-degree flames. Still about orange and red. They're not quite at blue, so they got a little bit more time to heat that up. Before they got the nuclear glizzies over there with their s'mores. Kanan wants to follow back up with Hannah, and they get high.
Hey, you gave them a couple name and everything.
Definitely did. I'm tripping. I think I'm high off of the comment that he said in terms of like, have you ever had, certain kind of weed? And he puts on for his man Famous, and my man Famous got that good weed. And you know what? That's telling. That is telling, saying something about what Famous may be up to next or whatnot. But there's that. Anyway, Rock is alone. Rock is definitely like most of us. Do not leave me alone in the fucking woods. Don't play that fucking game with me. And she was not about that at all. She thought it was Kanan, so it might have been Kanan playing. It happened to be this little motherfucking Toby and his father approaching to ask for wood. What the fuck? I don't know. Maybe I don't take no Boy Scout shit, but y'all couldn't find woods in the. You couldn't find wood in the forest.
You're not supposed. That's not the type of wood they were looking for. I know what you mean though, because you would think, nigga, like grab an axe. Get a chopping, nigga. Like
them motherfuckers were the scariest motherfuckers in this entire episode. I'm like, oh, they tried to roll up like, hey, you have any wood? Like,
motherfucker. Asking for starter logs, which is proves that you're not really camping.
No, they called them twigs, the little small ones. Okay, fuck that. You still can find that too. And
you heard them say they bought it from the store. So again, this is not something like this. This the Catskills. They ain't really going camping here. This is rich camping. Like when you buy sticks in a forest full of sticks to set on fire. Lit that motherfucking tree up. I'm gonna see one way or another in this motherfucker.
What the fuck? What? At this point now, this is where we have an attempt to try to get Rock, but it's not happening because of Toby and his father. Hannah,
Is his name Toby for real?
It is really Toby. It's Toby.
Damn.
Little boy Toby. Little boy Toby! Get those twigs. Hannah, at one point, I thought she was being pawned by the Italians, but it's not that. She just works at the campground and the store. She likes a little bit of
jungle fever.
Little bit.
Nothing else.
And Kanan is, got his hormones going in any direction he can. Ever since the party, he don't know how to act. The mama, he probably gonna try to hit her up next, but he's doing his thing. But at this point now, this is where we see the attack on both of them. Rock peeps game. Kanan goes on a one-on-one, almost takes an L. Hannah runs back over to Rock and says he's gonna kill him. And this is everything that we talked about earlier in terms of Kanan being saved by Rock, Kanan almost being shot, then Jimmy being shot by his partner, and then they have the discussion about, listen, I think we could come with some type of common ground here because of what happened, and Hannah runs back and so on. I think we probably see more Hannah again. We'll see. I don't know. No cell phones. I mean, unless you're Rock, you have a cell phone, satellite phone, whatever it is. But we'll see. But anyway, after that, the s'mores brings them back together. And Rock talks about who's going to be the next in line to run the family, who's going to be the heir to the throne. And Kanan says, "Yeah, I want it. But if we're going to do this, no secrets." And he says, "Well, you hold secrets too." Basically, he said, "Well, you just got to ask." Which
that happened before
they buried the body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before they buried the body, but they didn't bury the body at the end. They buried the body before the shooting and everything happened.
No, it was last. Because after he almost was shot, that's where
they sweated over the body. I can't remember.
Yeah,
this
it
is
was
damn shame. This is why we record right after watch.
Yeah, it was
sober. This is crazy.
It was afterwards because that's where they kind of had like the life-changing moment where it's like, listen, if you in the game now because you see what's happening here, this is what's up, and that's kind of thing how things kind of transpired.
I don't want to almost be shot and didn't have to bury a body.
Yeah,
that would bother me.
Yeah, I know, but now you're in it. You just gotta deal with it. I mean, Rock was self-motivated. She had two tasks here: get back on Kanan's side and bury this body. So the bury the body shit was going to happen regardless of how everything else planned about. So one way or another, this wasn't a reward for him almost being shot. This was the ultimate conclusion of the trip, period. And that's what it was. Buried his body, and they did. They dug the ground up and put him down. So there's that. Howard is on the lookout for Kanan, runs into Juke. Juke has no words, says, "Tell Kanan I'm looking for him." Now Lou, in a whole different mood. With Famous coming into the studio, Famous trying to get back involved, and his whole energy's up now. Now he got his own place and et cetera, et cetera. And he wants to get back in there. He said, "Listen, you put in the work, you get the time, and that way I get you some rounds, and we'll get you in the booth." And this is where
the raps he was spitting was super weak. Like, we need you to go back. Like, come on now. What was that?
But he did mention that he didn't know anything about Jessica and Crown. He had his suspicion, but he didn't think it was what it was. But Lou said he already knew, and it is what it is. It's put in the work, man, so we can start making music. And I think we have that moment of Lou looking at the wall, like, listen, it's my label. What am I going to do? So I think a little bit of self-reflection. That's why he's kind of a little dismissive in terms of like, get out of here, do what you got to do, and then I get you in the studio after that. Anyway, we see Juke in the church with her hair down, watching her mother sing. This is where, as I said, the moment where we finally get to see what Juke would do alongside her mother, but instead she proves to the church that she can sing. Now, after she gets hit on off the break in there, and said, "Listen, your prayer, the Lord's prayer, ain't going to get answered here, so just keep it moving." But she impresses everybody vocally, and obviously by appearance. And listen, this is important because now she sees value in her hair being down. That's what's happening here.
Exactly. Of exactly what Lou told her.
Yeah, so it's always been there, and we're gonna see a small transformation in Juke going forward. And I think this was a big step, but gets up there and sister Kenya gets up there and lets her daughter sing. She kills it. And that's just what it is. You know, she knew her daughter. I don't know if she ever heard Juke sing.
I don't think so. I think she either she assumed.
Yeah,
because
DNA.
she said my daughter can sing.
DNA.
And you see the look on her face as she as Juke is doing runs that normal people just can't do off of the step up here, sing us a song. And she hit Whitney Houston runs. And she said that. It's the amazement on her face of how she can sing.
Yeah.
I think it may have been a conversation we won't know until they dive deeper
Next
into
episode.
their relationship. Like
now
what was said before Juke had that moment up there.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be a big moment for the two of them, and I'm still waiting for that duet, but we'll get there.
You already know what's coming.
Oh, for sure. Howard and Andrea, Andrea is completely like, listen, Burke ran up on me for interrogations. He says, I'm not trying to be in all your little cop stuff and whatnot. She threatened she would call CWB, Child Welfare
Protective Service.
Yeah. And she said, like, Burke was asking about had you discussed about the shooting and what you could remember? And then said, oh, and what else did you tell them? He said, I mentioned you had a son, and Howard's pissed. And there's that. Now Howard knows that Burke knows, and we'll see how the chess player plays this next move now that Burke knows. And if Burke is who I think she is, she's going to confront him directly on this next episode.
Definitely.
So
Burke don't hide stuff.
Yeah, not at all. Burke, not Burke. Moving on from Burke. Marvin's still watching Tony, and he said, "If only you knew where that mouth was at." As he see Tony kissing her new boo, and the cops are following.
Disrespectful.
The cops are following. Cannot be good since he's already on a what's the word? A
CP watch.
Yes. Yeah. Well, beyond
that's
that,
the best way to put it.
He's already on. He's on a what's the word? That because he's not in jail.
Probation.
Probation. God damn it. Yes. I couldn't think of it for that. It's already on probation.
They couldn't get him for actually being in the neighborhood and being on probation. That would be racist. But they can get him because he's black.
But they could get him on anything.
He can just drive around any neighborhood.
Yeah, but they can say anything. They can say anything. As Rock said, the cops can do and say whatever they want to get their person, and that is going to be something to see how they may handle that. So we'll see. Anyway, Italians. I already talked about this, and you're right. They did bury the body first, and then
God damn it! You got me up this joke thinking I'm tripping. I'm like, nah, they buried the body. They buried the body, and then Rock threw the keys to Kanan and said, "Turn them keys in," and then that's when the shootout with the Italians happened. Rock gets in the car afterwards, and then you know what? See.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Sorry about that.
First episode I do sober, and got me thinking I'm drunk. Ain't that something?
Sorry about that.
Man.
Sorry,
man.
But I think that's it for tonight's episode.
Bone Thugs and Harmony too much growing up.
Stop. Legendary group of Bone Thugs and Harmony, unless they got to compete. Unless they got to compete with 3 6 Mafia.
I ain't even gonna say nothing about that because I ain't know half of them songs from 3 6 Mafia. I don't pay no attention, man.
Oh, okay. I'll just.
They ain't had Bone Thugs. Yeah, that's all you need. I just needed my girl to come out there again.
Who?
I can't hit the note because my voice is too deep. But the first song, I forget her. No one knew her name. She was just the girl who sung "Thuggish Ruggish Bone." That's it. Yeah. That could be Juke.
Could be. It is Juke, actually. It is Juke. That's connection.
Publishing check coming through.
Is anything else you want to cover on tonight's episode? I feel like we got everything. It's pretty straightforward episode.
And that was the key part about this episode. That's why I said joking around makes sense with this type of episode. The most serious moment was the Marvin moment of him understanding when he said, I did something to my daughter that I don't think she'll ever forgive me for, and I kind of think she shouldn't. Like, he even went to the angle of understanding what he did and that it's probably going to damage his relationship with Juke forever.
Yeah.
But it still hurts him that he lost her.
Yeah.
And him understanding, like, I'm fucked up. Like, that's something I should have never done. I did it. I got to live with the consequences of my actions. I love that moment for Marvin because it's the moment of realization. Like, it's never going to be back to normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Well, I don't have anything else, folks. You all can jump in the comments, let us know your thoughts and predictions about tonight's episode and about next week's episode, letting us know what you think is to come. Obviously, stick around later on the channel today to hear and watch our interview with London Brown, aka Uncle Marvin, as he gives us the scoop about a couple of questions I have for him in terms of his relationship with Tony, his relationship with Kenya, and how that sort of, what's that moment going to look like, considering their prior, their prior history and things to come with Juke. Like, there's kind of a lot to unpack there, and he definitely takes that question and gives us a surprising answer. So, but yeah, that will do it tonight, folks. Each and every week after the conclusion of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, you can check out our recap show each and every week. And we participate. I cannot talk. We appreciate everybody's love and support and conversations, theories, and all that other good stuff each and every week here on the channel. We love you all, and maybe we'll have more surprises next week. You never know, but you'll only find out if you stick around for more recaps here very soon. Thank you for watching, folks. We'll see you then.